So we've just arrived at the Green in Norwich, Vermont, the birthplace of our university, having just spent some time honoring Captain Partridge and his family at the family grave. So it's a short walk, it's not even a block and a half. And his home is on this main thoroughfare. Of course, there were no cars back in 1819, but there were plenty of horses. And his house is his home is about 2 blocks away down this beautiful road. But we're in the heart of Norwich, Vermont. And the state put a marker here to honor Captain Partridge and our school. So I'd like to read the marker for you, because I think it instills in one spot the essence of Captain Partridge's vision for his institution. And I can read Professor Gary Lord's work all over this monument and this marker. There's a huge gold seal at the top, the seal of our state. And then it reads, Alden Partridge, 1785, 1854. A native of Norwich, Vermont, Alden Partridge was a pioneer in American military education, superintendent of the United States Military Academy at West Point from 1815 to 1817. He returned here in 1819 to found the American Literary, Scientific, and Military Academy, which in 1834 became Norwich University, now located in Northville, Vermont. Partridge's innovative curriculum, called the, quote, American System of Education, close quote, combined the military, practical, scientific, and liberal instruction. The educational system established here served as a model for the 18 military academies and colleges founded throughout the United States. The Morrill Land Grant Act of 1862, the 1916 legislation, which created the Reserve Officer Training Corps, are extensions of Partridge's theories of education. That plaque says a huge amount about the impact that this one man's vision had on America and the way we educate our students. So I'm walking on the parade field that Captain Partridge actually drilled our Corps of Cadets. And it was the state-of-the-art military training and preparation at its day in 1819. It was an infantry threat. It was infantry training. Rifles, marching, standing the line, being able to move together, just like we were going to fight the Civil War. In all of those elements were here on this green. It was relatively easy to raise an army in 1819, especially compared to today. Every boy and every man knew how to shoot. I mean, we all had rifles. We were killing rabbits and squirrels for protein. A navy was a lot more difficult, though. And Partridge knew that we not only had a threat to the redcoats coming over the green hills of Vermont again, as his father fought in the Revolution, but we had to worry about how they may get here by sea and actually attack our shores. So he wanted a school that would train midshipmen. So having found the school in 1819, first classes in 1820, 1825, 5 years later, he says, boys, pack up your bags. We're marching south on the Connecticut River till we get to water deep enough to be able to have boats so we can train you as midshipmen. Now, I believe he reconnoitered this well in advance. He knew exactly where he was going. Partridge did nothing by chance. But we went to Middletown, Connecticut, and established a school there. He built 4 buildings over 4 years and tried for those 4 years to get the legislature to approve a charter so he could grant degrees, not just diplomas. Diplomas were like, you attended my school, but it wasn't like granting a degree. He needed a charter from the legislature to do that. His entering class of freshmen were 100. That was a lot. Yale was 75. The Yaleys in the legislature in Connecticut blocked the charter. They wouldn't give them a charter because they were afraid of the competition. So after 4 years, he says, boys, pack up your bags. We're marching back home to Norwich. And as he leaves, Wesleyan University is born in the 4 buildings that he built. And one of them still stands, the one with the clock tower in it. He returns home here. We go through some rough times, as schools always do. We were bankrupt twice. Became Lewis College for 4 years when Mr. Lewis on the Board of Trustees used his own money to save us, to save the ideas of Partridge. And of course, the fire in 1866. Partridge dies in 1 year before. And in one way, I'm kind of glad he did. I think it would have killed him of heartbreak to see his school burn to the ground. It was a very difficult time for school. The people in Northfield, Vermont, pledged some money. They sent a small delegation down, met with a few trustees that were still here and President Bourne, the president, and said, if you come to Northfield, we'll give you 14 acres and build you a building. We said, hallelujah, the school was saved. And they did. Boys, pack up your rucksacks, we're marching north now, up the Connecticut River. We recreate that march still. It's called the Legacy March. Professor Kelly, Norwich student, graduate, was our regimental commander when he was a kid here, went on to 30 years in our Army, now teaching engineering at university. Recreated that march about 10 years ago. I think in many ways kind of like in preparation for the bicentennial. I talk about him being Partridge incarnated because he's an engineer too and he's a hiker. But we recreate that march to remember both where we started but where we ended up. So this has been a wonderful experience, you know, being back here to honor Captain Partridge and his family at his grave, being here at this drill site where our corps stood, where our school once stood, and then to celebrate 200 years of everything that happened in between. And think about what the next 200 years might hold for us. And I think it holds a great deal. We are perfectly positioned to continue with our mission of protecting this republic. So our business model is very simple and has been simple since 1819. If we educate and train our students to defend this republic in times of desperate threat, and if not fighting, we are building the economy. If we do those things, the republic will send us their best students. Look at all the cyber warfare we're doing today, because that's the threat facing America. And if we stick to our mission, in light of all these other small schools in Vermont closing, which were wonderful little schools, we will always be full because America will send us their best students. And I am just as confident, as long as you, our alumni and friends, protect her, keep her true to that mission, as you have for the last 200 years, we will be even stronger in the next 200 years. You have put so many wonderful things in place for our university. The celebration of this incredible bicentennial, the buildings that are now there, the academic programs that are now there, the number of students that are there, and the incredible world-class faculty that are there will project us deep into this next century. And then you'll make sure that Norwich stays Norwich forever, which is everyone's responsibility to make sure she stays. Norwich forever.